And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with the birthday boy, Big Mo, Coach Paul Mokeski, Milwaukee Buck legend, uh, 12-year NBA veteran, longtime coach on the college, Olympic, professional level. Mo, it's always a pleasure to be with you and bring in the new year. Happy New Year to you, brother, and happy birthday.
Happy New Year, man. It's good to be make 67 revolutions around the earth. That's good.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
around the sun.
Yes, sir. Going strong, man, as we head into the new year. And we're going to get right to it so you can get out and celebrate your birthday. We're going to get into some NFL tonight because the playoffs are coming around. But I do want to start the NBA because, we're into January now, and you can kind of begin to define what teams are. Like, I can tell you the Detroit Pistons are not very good.
You think?
I don't need your expertise, Mo,
You think?
to tell me.
And I'm sorry, Ricky, but they ain't getting any better.
Yeah, to tell me the Detroit Pistons aren't very good. But when I look at the Western Conference standings, we're the Minnesota Timberwolves are sitting at the top position with a 24-8 record, followed by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now we knew Oklahoma City was going to be an improved team. They were a 500 team last year without having the young center. His name escapes me now.
Chad?
Yeah, it'll come to me. Who set out last year and played really well for them this year. And you talked about the experience he would get. Chet Holmgren just watching
Yeah.
the game, and he's played really well for them this year, Mo. But my question: are those two teams capable of sustaining this start and coming out of the West?
Yeah, I mean, you're what are you about a little over one third of the way through the
Yeah,
season, right?
yeah,
So, usually, when you like we just passed Christmas, usually around Christmas, you're looking at, even if you're working for a team as a GM or a coach, after Christmas, you can evaluate your team pretty well now. You've played 30 games, um, and you know your strengths and your weaknesses. We've obviously seen one trade already with the Knicks, so they're looking to improve. Other teams will look to improve, and then the trade deadline is in February, and that'll be another guidance time for teams to see where they're at and make their final push, whether to make the playoffs, up their position in the playoffs, get home court in the playoffs, and make your team good enough to run for the championship. And there's a lot of teams, right now that in the East, you got Boston and Milwaukee and Philly. Miami's always there for some reason. They don't look great on on paper, but they always seem to come through. But really, Boston probably head above Milwaukee and Philly. Philly's coming on strong, but in the West, with you got Minnesota, I think they're for real. And last year, I think they struggled trying to find a fit for Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert to play it. Two 7-footers, impactful players. They found it, and a little struggle to play on defense together. I think they've kind of figured that out a little bit. And then, Anthony Edwards had a great World Games over the summer with Team USA, and he's come into his own, and he's becoming, it was Anthony Towns was the star of that team, but now, Anthony Edwards is becoming the star and the future of that team, and it kind of balances out the team and the chemistry. Rudy Gobert is a good defensive rim protector. He scores 13, he grabs 12 boards a game, and then he blocks 4, 5, 6 shots a game protecting the rim. And then really, I watched him play the other day. The guy that's really like the steering that boat is Mike Conley, the point guard, who is he's probably 32 now, maybe 33. I'm not sure. And but he still averages 12 points, 3 boards, and 6 assists. Doesn't turn the ball over, and he's kind of balanced out that whole roster. So I have a little more faith in them holding their spot than I do OKC. Holmgren is showing why I believe he'll be Rookie of the Year, even though it's his second year, but he didn't play last year, but he traveled with the team, worked out with the team. So, he has a little heads up to me over Wembanyama from San Antonio, who's having a great rookie year too. But, I still think OKC is still too young. Most of their players, they're probably the youngest team in the league. And for sure, the youngest starters and rotation guys in the league, 22, 23. And it takes a lot to make a run in the playoffs. I think they'll have, they'll finish strong in the season. Denver Nuggets have struggled again with their injuries, but they're the defending champions and still can, come together and make another run for a championship. The team that's really finally coming into their own is the Clippers. The Clippers are now in 4th spot at 20-12. And remember how horrendous they were a month and a half ago.
0-6. They started 0-6 with Harden.
Yeah, so they're Harden's starting to fit in. They figured him out with Westbrook, and they can make a serious run here. The Kings are kind of where they were last year, not really sold in the Pelicans. Dallas Mavericks have probably the best pure backcourt in the league, with Luka leading the way, but I don't think they have enough defense. I don't think they have enough size. The Phoenix Suns are a big letdown, but part of that is Beal has not played. He's only played like 5 or 6 games, so KD and Booker are carrying that load, and they have a good bench, but they don't know what they have yet because Beal's been hurt. And you're looking at the Rockets. No, Lakers are struggling again. They made a run and they won the early season tournament, but they faltered a lot. And the Warriors. The Lakers are 3-7 in their last 10 games. They got a problem. And the Warriors, with the suspension and all those players are getting older. I think they've run their course. They tried to get the band together again and make one more run, but I don't think that's going to work. So out of those teams you just said, OKC and Minnesota, I think they'll both keep up there to the top 4 going into the season, but Minnesota has a better chance of making a deep run in the playoffs. And the Nuggets and Clippers, in my opinion, are the next Philadelphia 76ers of the West.
Mo, you mentioned Mike Conley. Mike is 36 years old.
Way to go, old dude. I like it.
Mo, he averages 6 assists and 1 turnover a game.
Yep, solid. And that shows your value. And for all the young players out there, and it's not assists, right? That's only part of it. Assist to turnover ratio. That's the thing.
Right.
And in the NBA, if you're a 5-to-1 ratio in the NBA, you're a top point guard that handles the ball. If you're a 3-for-1, you're okay. If you're a 2-for-1, you're not doing very well. But to average 6 assists and 1 turnover, that's elite right there. And they have a lot of talent. But that he's the other that steers that boat.
And the other value he brings. So this guy is organizing whatever they're going to do offensively, whether they make the shot or miss the shot.
Yeah. So
they're always going to be organized.
So if you're running the Minnesota offense right now, as he is very well, by the way, so Anthony Edwards is going to get a shot whenever he wants it. So he's going to get his shots. That Anthony Towns is going to get his shots whenever he wants. So you got to be able to assure that Rudy Gobert, who rebounds almost 13 rebounds a game and almost 4 blocks a game, you need to assure him that he gets the ball. That's where it comes into play, and keep him happy. And that's a big task, and he's doing it really well right now.
Yeah, our good buddy Steve checks in. What's up, man? Happy New Year to you, brother. Saying Thunder is pretty good. They are. He also said Durant's not happy. He's going to go back to Thunder for all their draft picks. The Thunder say, "Oh, never mind. Just stay where you are."
The Thunder are, their grand scheme, their trust the process had started years ago. I mean, remember how it started years ago, right? Durant, Westbrook, Harden.
Yeah.
Durant, Westbrook, and Harden. That's how it started. And eventually they tried to make a run for it. Then Harden wasn't happy being the 6th man of the year, so he went to Houston. And then Durant went to the War. Guys moved around, and now, so what they did is they shifted and said, let's get 800 million draft picks for the next 800 years, and let's start looking at young talent and start bringing them in. And guess what? If you take a swing at 20 pitches, you're going to hit 6 or 7 of them. So, and they've hit big with their young players who are coming in. So, OKC is a team of the future, and they have the talent. They just need to blend and figure out what they need. It would be nice if they got a veteran guy in there somewhere along the line in the next year or two to make a run at this thing. But they're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5 years
ahead. And you think this is the end of the road for the Warriors? I mean, they're 16 and 17. We don't know when Draymond Green is coming back, if he even comes back this year. I mean,
they brought the band back together, right? With Draymond and Curry and Clay, and throw Looney in there, and Wiggins, who's having a terrible year. They're trying to bring Kuminga along and give him more minutes, but they don't trust him. And the thing that bothers me and bothers them is they don't have any size. They have no size. Their best center is Looney, and he's 6'9". You're going to battle against the Joker or AD or any, and the big they got this year was Saric, who's 6'8", 6'9". Now he can shoot 3, no size to battle with.
Yeah.
So you're going to go super small all the time. You better have a high efficiency offense, and they don't. They turn the ball over too much.
And they play tonight. This will be the 10th game without Draymond Green. Earlier today, Steve Kerr said that he's been in some contact with Draymond, but he doesn't sound very optimistic about him coming back. He said, we've been giving him his space. He's been giving us our space. But Mo, even when and if he comes back, he doesn't solve the problem you just mentioned.
No, he doesn't solve the problem with size. And now they're not trusting him as much, right? And let's be truthful, right? Here, I'm gonna inform and educate people. Suspensions indefinitely. That means we were going to suspend you like 50 games, but that sounds outrageous, and we can't do that. So we're going to suspend you indefinitely. So really, they have to go along the lines that they won't see him maybe for a playoff run, maybe if they get there. So really, if I'm Golden State Warriors and I'm in their front office, I'm thinking about, let's retool. We need to trade Wiggins or Kuminga or somebody, get a legitimate center, a big, and maybe another player, and then if he comes back, we can hold the fort and maybe he can help us then. But going along the current path they're going on now makes no sense to me. That's like, hey, you know what? We're struggling this year. Let's go get another shooter. That makes no sense. You got shooters.
Right.
That doesn't make any
Right.
sense. You know?
You got two of the greatest shooters of all time. That's not the problem. Our friend Jai Stedman checks in.
Jay,
Says,
Jay,
Jay,
Jay.
Chris Finch me. Jay checks in. Chris Finch me, Mo. Talk about your old boss and how he has the Timberwolves rolling, which he kind of opened up with, but just for Jay.
Yeah, well, Jay coached with us in RGV when we won a championship. Chris Finch was the head coach, and Jay and myself were the assistants. He's an assistant coach in JUCO in Kansas, Independence, Kansas, right now. His first year there, he's going to get through it. Hang in there, Jay. But and Jay knows, and people that don't know, Chris Finch has been a coach all his life. He was a head coach in England in the Pro League at 35 years old and won championships. And then he went to Belgium and won FIBA championships. And he's been coaching a long time. Then the Rockets brought him in to be the head coach of RGV Vipers for 2 years. He won the championship the first year and came in second the second year. He's a offensive genius of the open game and threes, and how the game is going now. And then he went to the Rockets and was on the bench there, and had a couple opportunities at some other teams to be head coach, but was kind of held back by the Rockets, frankly. And then he finally got his opportunity in Minnesota. He was an interim for a while, and now he's got the real deal. And if he keeps them rolling like they are now, he's going to get an extension there. And great basketball mind, great guy, and a great coach that finally got his opportunity and hung in there long enough to do it. And it's not easy. People don't understand. It's not easy. So your general manager makes a trade and brings Rudy Gobert in, right? Okay, that's great, but you got to fit him in with Anthony Towns, who's 7 foot. They're both 7 foot guys that aren't very good at defense. So how do you keep them on the floor at the same time? By defense, I mean staying in front of your quicker guys, playing pick and roll, stuff like that. So Chris is part, and he's got a good staff there. That's part of the reason that they finally figured it out. It took them a while, and now they're on a roll, and couldn't happen to a better guy.
Hey, Paul, you talked about all the experiences Chris had even before he became a head coach, and we look at Griffith in Milwaukee, one of your former guys, a young guy, a good coach, but those experiences Chris had really give him an edge on building a team over a younger coach such as Griffith, who I'm sure will develop over time. But at this very moment,
if he's allowed, he might be fired. If he's allowed, he will develop. But Jay knows this. There's a difference, and I've talked to people about this. I was an assistant coach mostly, but I was a head coach in the G League in Reno. So, moving over, and I tell assistant coaches this all the time, you're sitting next to the head coach, right? And you got input, and you have ideas, and you share them, and you have some decisions to make. But now, when you move over to the head coach, that 18 inches of a seat, you move over 18 inches, and now you're in the number one seat. You got to do time management. You got to do player management. You got to do all this other stuff. It's a totally different experience, especially at the NBA level. Well, Chris Finch started his coaching career as a head coach in England, a head coach in Belgium, a head coach in the G League. And so he's always been in that spot. So he's had that experience. And then he moved to the NBA in Houston as an assistant to get the feel for the NBA league. But he already had that head coaching experience. If you haven't been a head coach before, you don't know what it's like. You think you do, but you don't. And I've had, I think Jay's been there. I've had serious discussions with assistant coaches that stepped over their bounds, and, not Jay, but other coaches. And I said, listen, I appreciate you. I know where you are, but you have no idea what it is to be a head coach. And assistant coaches give suggestions, and assistant coaches here know a lot. Hey, coach, we should play a zone. Hey, yeah, we're thinking about it, but no. Hey, coach, we should put him in. Yeah, maybe later. No. Hey, coach, we should no. So you hear that a lot. When you're a head coach, you're the one that says no. So it's a totally different experience. And I've told coaches that before, you have, and Adrian Griffin, I coached in the D League, I coached in the CBA. Great guy, great coach, great basketball mind, been an trusted assistant in the NBA for years, but he's never been this head coach. And now not only is he thrown into the NBA, the toughest league in the world, as a head coach, here you go. Then he's thrust in a situation where he's expected to, because of his roster, make it to the finals and win.
Yeah.
So there's more pressure, and he's never been there before. And then I'll throw it out there. Early on this summer, and I know he hired Terry Stotts, who was a head coach for the Portland Trailblazers for years, and another friend of mine who I know. And I thought that was a great hire. You bring in a guy you trust, you sit him next to you. He's been a head coach. He can, you can go to dinner with him, sit on the plane with him, talk to him about all this stuff. And they got in some kind of argument and butted heads, which is crazy to me because I know them both. Both are really mild-mannered. Both are really good guys. Both are really accepting of information. And whatever happened, they got to a point where Terry just left. And that left a hole in Gerv's staff, a big hole, one of the main holes in his staff. And he, at that time, he couldn't fill it. Maybe he'll fill it next year if he's given an opportunity. But that has a lot to do with what they're struggling too.
But Steve points out something. And we'll also talk about the Pistons finally getting the win after 28 games. But the Bucks defense is not nearly as good as it was. And you know it wasn't when you lose Holiday, a great defender, for all the firepower that Dame Lillard's bringing, he is not a great defender.
He's a bad defender. He's a small, bad defender. And so last year or the years before, so if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, you have Drew Holiday, one of, if not the best defensive guard in the league. You have Brook Lopez, defensive player of the year in the league. And then you have Portis, who's another big wing type defender, one of the really good defenders. So you have three guys to rely on. Now, not only do you lose Holiday, your best guard defender, but you replace him with Damian Lillard, who great offensive player, clutch guy, but he's a bad defender. He is, and he's small. So that's what's going to happen, So, you can see this coming a mile away. And at the front, at the top, ownership, general manager, you're looking at, okay, last year, we were beat up and we were injured, but we couldn't get to the finals. So are we going to go back with that again? Or are we going to shake it up and we're going to suffer? We're going to lose Holiday. We love him as a player, part of the family, a champion, an Olympian, gold medal. And we're going to sacrifice that because we think the upside with Damian Lillard and put him next to Giannis, which should be even a better 1-2 punch than Murray and the Joker, right? Theoretically, they should even be better. But who won the championship last year? Denver, because of Murray and the Joker, 1-2. And Damian Lillard and Giannis are that same 1-2. So maybe they thought, let's do that and see what happens.
Yeah, but as you mentioned earlier, they also had some solid pieces around them. KCP, a really good defender. Aaron Gordon played well for them. They were a really solid team, and they've lost some of those pieces this year.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
yeah,
what.
and you mentioned I, I saw Holiday holding his own with LeBron James in the post a couple of weeks ago. LeBron got him down low and tried to back him down. He eventually kicked it out to somebody for an open three. If that's Dame Lillard, he's just going to walk over him and lay the ball up. I mean,
Absolutely, no question. I
that,
mean,
that's
and and let's talk about the Nuggets again because they lost a couple pieces, and that's what happens a lot of times when you win a championship. Is you don't lose your stars, but you lose some of your role players, and that's how important they are. I mean, I think Charles Barkley said it on TNT during the playoff. Stars don't win NBA series, NBA championships. I mean, you have to have them to win.
they're the
But
catalyst.
but
Yeah.
the role players are the ones that win it. They're the ones that Murray and what the Joker are going to get. You know that.
They're
But
going to
what
get
about
that.
the other guys? They have to step up, and that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. You're watching We Got Next with the birthday boy tonight, Big Mo, Paul Mokeski. Wish him a happy birthday on your comments. I'll make sure we get them to you. David Finkel's checking in. Mo, your thoughts on the Knicks and the trade they made, getting rid of Barrett and quickly?
Well, I think, like we were talking before, Dave, that at some point teams have to make decisions, and the Knicks find themselves like in the middle of the pack, right, in the East. And they have two really good players. They have Randall and they have Brunson. Randall's a really good point guard, and Brunson's a really good point guard, and Randall is like a 4-3, whatever he is, but he's really, really good. Actually, remember last year, early in the year, he was being talked of MVP category. So they had that, but at some point you got to make a decision. What are we going to do? Stay with what we got, and Anunoby that they brought in. They give up R.J. Barrett and the other kid who's really good too. But what they got in Anunoby is you saw it in the game this past weekend. He's really athletic. He can get to the basket. He plays hard. He does all the little things. He does backdoor cuts and all that. But the one thing that he does that they really need is because if you look at the Knicks, Brunson is a driver penetrator, right? He can knock down a three. Randall is a driver penetrator. He can knock down the three, okay, but that's what they mainly are. So what do you got to do for your two best players? You got to spread the floor. And Anunoby is one of the best, if not the best, corner three-point shooters in the league. He shoots 48% from the corner three. Perfect fit, right? And he's happy doing it. So I think it was a good move by the Knicks. I don't think it gets them over the hump. I think they need to make another move. I don't know what assets they have. I think they have draft picks and some stuff, but they have to maybe get a big or something like that. But I think that was a good trade for the Knicks.
Yeah, they are currently 18 and 15, and sitting in the number 7 spot. They're tied with Cleveland, and Cleveland hasn't. That Cleveland was the solid number 4 team in the conference last year. They're all the way down to 8. Orlando's had a good start to the year. They're 19 and 14, much improved. Indiana started hot. They cooled off a little bit. Indiana Indiana averages 126 points a game, but they give up 124 points a game. So when they play good teams in the playoffs, that's just they're not going to just let them run up and down the floor like that.
Well, let me ask you, what happened to Sacramento last year? They were one of the top offenses in the league, and then when they hit the playoffs, they lost to not a great Warriors team in the playoffs because you got to play defense. When the Warriors were great, they were a top offensive team, but they're also a top 5 defensive team in the league. So those go hand in hand, and you can't do both. So I watched Indiana in person here. They have a makeup of a team. Obviously they don't have the Joker, but they kind of remind me of the Denver Nuggets. They're not very deep. but they have good players in each position.
Yeah. Is Draymond still getting paid? Yes.
Yes,
Yes, I'm pretty sure he.
yes,
I think the
he's
Players
he's
Association,
suspended with pay. Yeah,
yeah, would make sure that happened.
at least
Uh,
I want to hold that. I'm not sure about that. I'm
I,
not
I
sure.
would. I'll look it up. I think so though.
I think not. And here's the difference: when your team suspends you, they can make a decision whether to pay you or not. When the league suspends you, I think it's automatic they deduct your pay. That's what I believe. I'm not positive on that, but that's what I believe. So if that's true, then he's losing millions of dollars as we speak. I'm not positive on that yet, though.
Uh, uh, yes, he's losing $154,000 a game. You're right, Mo.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So,
He's losing
you know,
$150,000 a game.
are you sure it's not more than that?
And this is his 10th game, according to the report I just saw. Uh,
I mean, he.
I'll keep looking. That's what I got from this initial.
Yeah, I mean, what happens with suspensions is, what the league does with suspensions is they take 1/82nd of your salary every game you're suspended. So hey, we're gonna have another learning process, right? So Draymond is making $22 million a year this year.
Okay,
Right?
here we go, Mo. When a player is suspended in the NBA, they are docked 1/110th of their annual salary per game. Meaning Green would be out of pocket to the tune of $226,000 a game for his
Yeah, I
time.
don't. That's weird to me because it used to be you're suspended 1/82nd because that's how many games you play. So maybe they add in playoffs. I don't know because if it was so he's losing 230,000 a game.
Yeah. Well, that's when he was suspended. This is when he was suspended by the league last year. This report. Who knows? The dude has lost a ton of money. Uh,
Yeah, and
uh,
and
we,
and here's a guy that all this has happened and he really hasn't admitted that he did anything wrong, right? He
yeah, yeah,
apologized to the player, I guess, but he's not come forward and said, "Hey, listen, uh, you know, I don't know what's going on in my head. I can't control myself sometimes. It's not right, and I need to get some help." What he said is,
yeah,
"Hey, I apologize for punching this guy, but Draymond's gonna be Draymond."
yeah, yeah. Uh, Here's a good one. Ty Lue and the Clippers are rolling. You're absolutely right. It started off horrible when Harden got there. They were 0-6. They are now in Harden's first 6 games. They are now 20-12 and are 8-2 in their last 10. And more the surprising thing, they're playing pretty good defense for them.
Yeah, I mean, when you make a move and you add someone as dynamic a player as Harden is, it's going to take a while. And you also remember, Russell Westbrook was playing well. But guess what? Just like when he was playing well wherever the hell else it was, they were losing. So, but when you bring a dynamic player in like Harden, it's going to take everybody, the coaching staff, the players, his teammates, everybody, a little while to get used to it. And now, I give Ty a lot of credit because that's not an easy thing to do. And all NBA players have egos, and all NBA players think they should play more, and all NBA players think they should have more shots. And especially if you're talking about Harden and then Westbrook, who's been an all-star, in his career, but now he's taking a back seat salary wise and minutes wise. So Ty has done a great job. And, Kawhi has been more healthy, and those guys have been more healthy, and they have a good. I told you this at the beginning of the year. When you look at the roster,
it's always
if you put up the Clippers roster against any other roster in the NBA, you're at a top 5, 6 roster. Yeah. Period. End of story. You put them up against the Celtics, Bucks, Philly, Denver. Yeah. Minnesota. I mean, if you look at their roster and you have a pick, are you going to take Minnesota or Clippers? You're going to take Minnesota. I mean,
Hey, but Mo, you talked about guys you gotta have an ego to play in the National Basketball Association.
Yeah, but you have to have an ego that you can adjust that. You have to have. We just talked about how you win a championship, not with superstars, but with role players, right? So you have to have. If you're playing in the NBA, you're a good freaking player. You're one of the best 450 players in the world. But everybody can't be a starter. Everybody can't be a star. Everybody can't be an all-star. Everybody can't get all the shots. So the players that realize, and the teams that have players that realize, hey, should I be a starter? In my mind, sure, I should get all the shots. But that's not reality. I mean, if I'm playing for the Clippers, Kawhi, Harden, all those guys are going to get more shots, even if I'm a great player. So guess what? I'm going to do what I can do. I'm going to accept my role. I'm going to play my role to the best so we can win a championship.
Yeah, that's David Finkel makes a great point. The Clippers have been more healthy for this year than with the anti-load management rule.
I mean, that load management rule is a bunch of bunk. I mean, like Barkley said, you're telling me you're getting paid $20 million a year and you can't play 3 or 4 games a week? Come on, man. And people, you got to realize travel is difficult either way, but you're traveling by private jet. You're staying in 4-season hotels. You have masseuses. You have strength and conditioning guys. You got physical therapy people. You got cooks for you. You don't, once the season starts, NBA teams don't practice. I mean, for real practice. When you start the season, before the season in training camp, your practice lasts for 2 hours. And you go pretty hard and you scrimmage and you do defensive drills and offensive drills and all blah, 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 blah. Once the season starts, you practice for about an hour and 15 minutes a day, and then maybe get in another 30 minutes of individual training and work on your shot or whatever. And that's it. And you don't really go that hard because coaches don't want players to get hurt in practice once the season starts, because the best ability in the NBA in any sport at any level is availability. So if you have a guy and you're going hard in practice and he sprained his ankle, he's out for 3 weeks, that's not good. So, but all that said, they're already load managing. The team is load managing for you. Hey, we play back-to-back, take the day off, no practice today, or just get in the weight room. That's load management, not sitting out a game in bad clothes with a hat on and sunglasses and shorts and flip-flops and sit on a bench. There's my old man getting off my lawn. But that's true. Put a uniform on and play. I mean, come on, man. I mean, Ricky, I just kind of went back and I watched, because I'm crazy, I guess. I watched The Last Dance, the Chicago Bulls story. I rewatched all that. I think there's 8 episodes or whatever. And one of the things that stuck out, to address load management, Michael Jordan played every game possible. Even he had to force the Bulls to play him one season because they wanted to sit him out and get a better draft pick. And his dad, his teammates, and he said that you never know, when I go to an arena and I play on a Wednesday night in Cleveland, there's some parent and some kid in the stands that never seen me play and want a chance to see us play. And that's good enough reason to play and spend their good money to watch us play. No load management.
Much respect. Much respect to MJ on that accord. For sure, Mo. Hey, Mo, the Pistons lost 28 straight games. They almost won that 28th game. They gave Boston all they could handle. Boston didn't have Brown in the lineup. The Pistons went up 21 points. They couldn't finish the deal. 2 nights later, they finally get a W, and they played the same way. They played desperate. And Monty Williams kind of said, hey, if we'd have played with that kind of effort early in the year, we wouldn't have lost 28 games in a row. When you are a bad team, man, you better bring it, or you'll get
even
run
if
over.
you're a good team. If you're a good team, how many good teams do you see lose to bad teams during the season?
Well, we almost saw the Celtics do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but we've seen other teams. I mean, Dallas Mavericks beat somebody, I can't even remember who it was, by 50, and then they lost to them 3 weeks later by 30.
Yeah.
But you have to bring it, and you have to bring it every night. You're a pro, you get paid to do it, and he's right though. And there's so many times, if we would have played hard like that, we could have won 5 more games.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And at the end of the season, guess what? Not the Pistons, but other people like, Denver or Lakers or Boston or Milwaukee or whoever. At the end of the season, as coaches, I used to always look back at our schedule, and you look back at the games that, you know what, we lost by 2, and we lost by 5, and we lost by 1, and we lost in overtime, and we didn't play very hard or very good. Those add up to like 5 to 8 games easy. So instead of in the 4th spot, we'd have the 1st spot, home court for the whole playoffs.
And Mo, it may be a few months ago, this came up, and explain it to our viewers again tonight. When people talk about playing hard, what that really means.
Well, playing hard is, easy as playing hard. So it's really more than playing hard. So when I talk as a coach, and a lot of coaches do this, here's the 3 things we need to do every night. There's 3 things we need to do every night, right? We need to play hard, play as hard as you can, run hard, sprint back, move your feet on defense, go for every rebound. That's playing hard. We got to play smart. That means not taking bad shots, not throwing away stupid turnovers, not doing stuff you can't do. If you're not a shooter, don't shoot the damn ball. Play smart. And then we got to play together as a team. Like when we're out there on the floor, we play together. Everybody rebounds, everybody helps each other. Those are the 3 things. But it's hard to get teams to do that a lot of the times, no matter how bad or good. I mean, can you imagine? And this is mind-boggling too, and he said it, that the Pistons, why didn't you play that hard when you lost 10 in a row? How about 12? How about 15? I mean, come on, man. But you know what it took? Because they have a young team now, and they have to learn. But it took like all the attention. You're gonna have the biggest losing streak ever in the history of the game. Do you want to be that team? No. But it took that. Why couldn't it have that kind of intensity in game 10? It's mind-boggling, but that's the truth.
Hey, Mo, here in Detroit, everybody's saying, hey, man, the Pistons have become the Lions.
Well, I hope they do, because that means in the next couple of years they're going to be in the playoffs, and in the next 3 or 4 years they might have a chance of winning a championship if they're.
No, I think they're talking about the old Lions.
I know, but they're not. They're the old Lions. Yes, they are the Lions. They're the old Lions.
Yeah.
And you hope they turn into the new Lions.
Yeah, absolutely. We're heading down the stretch here on the birthday version of We Got Next. Mo, let's talk a little NFL before we get out of here, man. As these teams prepare for the playoffs, and some teams are already set. Your Chiefs Patrick Mahomes not even playing this weekend. I guess the NFL is so different because it's such a physical game that preparation for playoffs is a little different than it would be in the NBA. But I would think the mindset is still the same in terms of, hey, everything steps up in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are like it's so frustrating, and I'm telling you, and you see it, right? When was the last time you saw Travis Kelce throw his helmet? When was the last time you saw a Mahomes get frustrated while he's sitting on the bench or on the field? Because they can't catch the damn ball. They don't have players that can catch the ball. Guess what? If you're Mahomes and you ended up 14 for 28, and guys dropped the ball 5 times, how frustrated are you? And it's frustrating to me as a Chiefs fan to watch Hard Knocks and the Miami Dolphins, and Tyreek Hill is a stud, and he should be with the Chiefs, and he can actually catch the ball. But the Chiefs' defense seems strong, but their receivers, the guys can't catch the ball. So now you can double team Travis and do some stuff, and not worry about it. Even if the guy's open, he might drop the ball anyway.
Yeah. And of course, as the regular season winds down, there's going to be a lot of coaches that it always is movement, coaches fired. And that's another thing. It's not just the head coach whose job is on the line. That's the entire staff.
Well,
Even the trainers can go.
Let's look at the Raiders. They fired their coach, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback coach. All of them, it's when your head coach changes, the whole staff has a chance to change it for the most part. Not many head coaches that take a job, come in and take a job, like if the Raiders job is open or the Chargers job is open. They're not going to keep those assistant coaches. They're not their guys. They're going to bring in their friends, their guys. So guess what? Those other people are out of jobs.
Hey, do you think the Patriots have a different? I don't know if it's the right word. Responsibility or approach in handling Bill Belichick's future, or is it just the coaches today?
No, he's earned it, and he has leeway, right? I mean, put some other no-name coach in there, he would have been fired last year, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, one of the worst teams in the league in the NBA is the San Antonio Spurs, right? Are they going to fire Greg Popovich? No.
The Pistons are just 2 games behind the Spurs,
Yes, yeah, but if that was even a coach we were just talking about, right, having a great year, Chris Finch. If Chris Finch was in his second year in San Antonio, he'd be fired.
Yeah,
that's the nature of the business.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
Bottom line. Yeah.
But I don't. So, I mean, it looks like the Ravens are the team now, right? And and now you're looking at Kansas City, kind of Buffalo, Miami. I like. You got Dallas, Philly, San Francisco, who took a dip and now they're coming up, and then the Lions. So those are the teams that you're looking at in the playoffs, I would think, to make a run.
Well, but Mo, you're a Packer guy from your Milwaukee days. This has really been a good season for them when you think about they're transitioning from a Hall of Fame quarterback to a guy who has never played.
That was a couple of years. That was a couple of years ago, though, right? Transformation is over, but they're 8-8, and I believe if they win this weekend,
if they beat Chicago, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, so I would think that the Packers would have intensity, right? But you never know. They're playing Chicago, who's not a very good team, but so and they've made that transfer to Love and see if he can be, but I mean, if you go from Aaron Rodgers and
Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, holy cow!
That was
but
crazy.
that's like, here's one thing that most NFL teams don't have to worry about that NHL teams, NBA teams, and Major League Baseball teams kind of have to worry about. Mostly, if you lose in the NBA, and most of those teams, you're going to lose your fan base. They're going to eventually just look at the Oakland A's, right? Nobody goes to the games because they're terrible.
Yeah.
If you're in football, like you could be pretty bad, and fans are still going to come to your games. People are still coming to the Bears games.
Lions sell out every year.
Yeah, the Raiders are selling out.
Yeah,
so yeah, that's a big difference.
Well, NFL is keen too, Mo. They got quite the thing going.
Yeah, and look at what they play 16 games regular season.
17 now.
Yeah, so you're looking at baseball plays 160 and hockey and NBA play 80 something. So there's a difference too. So
yeah. Hey, final thoughts. The college football semifinals, and who you like in the finals?
I didn't see the game, but Washington played their championship game here in Las Vegas. Saw a lot of Washington fans out there. I didn't see them play a lot. And there's something to it, Ricky, though. Their quarterback is a lefty. And there's something about lefty quarterbacks that kind of put teams at edge. And, and he can throw it on a dime.
Man, he can throw that ball, man.
Yeah, but, Michigan, they're big, they're physical. They out-physical Alabama. Holy cow. And, their defense is, their defensive line just ran over Alabama. Like, they weren't hardly even there. They didn't give their quarterback a chance. Offense, I thought Michigan's quarterback is supposed to be all that, but I think he struggled. But, if you're looking at overall, Michigan, and you know what? I'm going to pull. Harbaugh's done some crazy stuff, obviously, and he's got in trouble for live scouting, which I don't know why you would. You should be able to live scout. Everybody else does, but and been in trouble and been suspended. But damn, man, that team. They won all the games even when he was suspended, and then he'd come back and picked up like nothing. And you can tell his players love him. After the game, obviously it's emotional, but maybe it's his swan song. All those Michigan fans out there, if he wins the national championship, and all the crap and the NCAA still coming after him, and who he is? He's like the football version of Jerry Tarkanian back in the day. Remember the NCAA kept coming after him, Fresno State and UNLV. He sued the NCAA and won.
Hey, Mo, and we'll get out of here. Tark just wasn't built for the NBA, though, was it?
No, most college coaches aren't. They're not. It's a totally different game, different world, and they're just not. Tell me, Calipari, right? It wasn't built for the NBA. They're just, Tark lasted like 3 months. But, back to Harbaugh, I can see him
he's gone.
Wins this thing, because he catches, he's the Chargers, the Raiders, the other teams, and they're going to offer him what? I don't know, 30 million, 40 million. I don't know what they offer him anymore. But
and Mo, he'll leave with a national championship and beating Ohio State 3 straight years.
Yep. Bye-bye.
That's it.
Look at my rings. Look at my rings. Look at my contract. Bye-bye.
Hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's great to be here in 2024. Hey, you can catch this show, all our other shows on Believe.com. BLEAV.com, or anywhere you get your podcast. Happy birthday, Mo. Go out and you and Linda paint the town. God bless you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're going to, remember I took you to Tacos and Beer. We're going there, and then I might play a little video poker, and then we'll be home by, about 9:30.
All right, Mo. Love you, brother. Take care.
Love you too,
Peace,
man.
everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.